cute, right? It's a little, my little puff is cute, right? I'm cute, right? Right? We're cute. We're cute. Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel and thank y'all so much for being here. I'm super excited because today is the very first episode of Sports Imitates Life. And I really do feel like sports imitates life in so many ways. Life imitates sports in so many ways. Sports and life are connected in so many different ways. Growing up an athlete, I started playing tennis when I was 3 years old. I began running track at 14 years old, and I've been a tennis coach and a fitness trainer for the full time for the past few years. And sports and athletics has always been a huge part of my life. And I've also been really inspired by athletes my entire life because I've always seen, especially professional athletes, as these superheroes, these beings that can run really fast and jump really high and swim really far and can lift super heavy. Athletes have great hand-eye coordination and balance and agility, and they have a lot of grit and a lot of mental toughness and a lot of heart. So as you guys can probably tell from the title, we're going to be talking about a subject that can be pretty controversial, and it's a subject that I have a lot of really strong opinions about. I've heard some very interesting views about this particular subject, and the subject is this idea that female athletes are to be sold as sex objects that are admired not just for their athletic ability and their hard work in the gym or on the court or on the field, but as these hyper feminine, hyper sexualized characters. And we can go back to the beginning of time, the beginning of sport, and we can see, the men being praised for their strength and for their athletic prowess and for results and for winning championships and breaking records and doing very well as athletes, regardless of how they looked. And then we can kind of see the female athlete. And let's back up for a moment, because in the past 20 or 30 years, we've seen a surge, like a major increase in the representation of female athletes in the media, whether that be magazines or whether that be sports talk radio or on television on different sports networks. We've seen a huge increase in female representation in the past 30 to 40 years. At the same time, it's still not nearly as much as our male counterparts. And so I think that's, there's a lot that can be said about that. And I also think that there is a lot that can be said about what female athletes being positioned as the support system for the male athlete, as the cheerleader, so to speak. And that's not to put down cheerleaders, because anyone that can do a backflip, a round off, can flip in the air and land on their feet and not lose their life is I tip my hat to them, because I surely cannot do it. But we can see that females are kind of placed in this space where they have to be hyper feminine, or their beauty or their sex appeal has a lot to do with their success as a female athlete, as opposed to male athletes, where for the most part it's based on results. Are you winning championships? Are you winning Grand Slams? Are you winning World Cups? That's for the most part, that's what male athletes are judged upon. And we can even go back to Jan Stevenson, who was this incredible golfer, who kind of reached the height of her career in the 70s and 80s. She was a female golfer, and she embraced her sex appeal. She was, accused for a long time of, using her beauty and her sex appeal to gain endorsement deals and gain sponsorships and to earn more money. And she fully embraced it. She fully embraced being a sex symbol. Same thing with, tennis players like Anna Kournikova, who, She never won a major title as a tennis player, but she did earn $15 million over the course of her career. She was bashed for years and years for being the pretty tennis player, or being, known for her beauty, or known for being sexy, being known for that Enrique Iglesias video, which is a great video. If you have not seen that video, it's 20 years old, but it still hits. Like, it's a real poppin' video. Like, if you guys have not seen Anna Kournikova in the Enrique Iglesias music video, go watch it. Pause this video, go watch it, and then come back to me. It's real cute. I like it. I like it a lot. She looks amazing. She's beautiful. It's just a great video. So go watch it. But in her defense, Anna Kournikova made it to be a top 10 tennis player in the world. Do you know? Come here. Come closer. Do you know how good you have to be at tennis to make it to the top 100 in the world? The top 200 tennis players in the world are world-class athletes. Like, and even the top 250, to make it anywhere in professional athletics, you have to be amazing. So this idea that women, if you're selling sex, or if you use your sex appeal to garner more attention, or to build a brand, that makes you less of an athlete. Anyone that has made it to the point where somebody is paying them to play a sport, they didn't get there by being mediocre. I will say that. But she was bashed and bashed and bashed for being sexy, and for being, the girl who didn't win any major tournaments but got all these endorsements and all this attention. There's also this idea that women are less respected when they choose to showcase femininity or sex appeal as athletes. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case, because I feel like people that don't respect female athletes were never going to respect them to begin with. And I don't think that being respectable or respectability politics plays a role in this, because it doesn't matter how modest or respectable a female athlete is. If a person doesn't respect the hard work and dedication and just grit that it takes to get to that level, they were never going to respect it to begin with. I feel like those women are more the exception than the rule. Where the issue lies for me is, if a woman is being offered a big check to play up her sex appeal, if a woman is being offered a big check to show more skin, or to be more feminine, or to be hyper feminine, and that's not who she is at the core of her being, and she takes the check, to me, that's selling out. And I understand that I'm not judging, a little, but really I'm not judging, because I understand that, like, people have to make a living. People have families to feed. People have bills to pay. So I'm not ever gonna judge the next woman's hustle, because everybody needs a hustle. But the issue for me is, if that's not who that woman is, that's where it becomes unhealthy. Now, when you have a woman like Jan Stevenson, who is very, very in tune with her hyper femininity and wanted to exude sex and sex appeal, and that was part of her core, and that was part of her brand that she was building, I see no issue with that. I feel like a woman should not be forced to be something that she isn't to attract viewership. Now, we don't live in a perfect world, and of course, once again, we do know that sex sells. And you know what? I feel like some female athletes, they have to decide for themselves, if they're going to stick with endorsement deals and with an image that resonates with who they are and what they want their brand to be, they have to understand that if they don't fit a certain mold, then it may cost them endorsement deals. And do I think that that's fair? Not necessarily, but I also don't think that it's fair to shame or shun a woman who is very comfortable with her sex appeal and very comfortable showcasing sexiness. And if that's part of who she is, and she just happens to be using that as a vehicle to a bigger audience and to bigger endorsements and sponsorships and bigger checks, if that really resonates with who she is, I say go for it. I have no issue with that. The issue of forcing women into a box of femininity or hypersexuality, it can be seen, in a few different sports. At one point, and I tried to look this up. I don't know if they still do this, but I did find some sources from like 2013 and 2014. I found some interviews of WNBA players talking about the makeup, hair, and fashion course that was offered during their rookie orientation. And for the WNBA, they have makeup classes and hairstyling classes and fashion classes to teach rookies how to make themselves more presentable in the eyes of the sports fan, because they want to attract more viewership. And it's optional. Some women, like Brittany Griner, opted out of it. She chose not to do it. It wasn't who she was. It didn't resonate with her brand, and she chose not to do it. And she also chose to speak out against it, which she has every right. She has every right. But for the women that took advantage of that course, more power to you ladies as well. But I do think that it sends a strange message to women who showed up to play basketball. But at the same time, I understand why that was put in place. And those that took advantage of it did, and those that didn't. And it's all good. Yeah. The Ladies Professional Golf Association, a few years back, had a summit. And at this summit, they discussed ways to make professional female golfers more marketable. And one of those ways was to, of course, play great golf. A few of the other ways that they felt professional golfers on the ladies tour could garner more viewership was to pay close attention to appearance. And when they said that, they talked about, of course, like beauty and femininity and sex appeal, but also like looking approachable and always looking friendly while you're on the golf course, and being friendly and smiling a lot during golf tournaments. They felt made these women more approachable and more likable. I don't know that this same thing was discussed at the PGA Tour Summit, but for the women, it was very, very important. The commissioner made sure that the women knew that it was important, that the way that they presented themselves physically was paramount in terms of the kind of brand that they could build and the kind of money that they could get and the kind of fans that they could attract. And so that's a little strange to me. When we look at the Forbes list, when we look at the top 10 women, the top 10 female athlete earners in 2019, all 10, and I think number 11 is a golfer, but I know I think 13, 14, and 15 are tennis players as well. The top 10 are all tennis players. And there has been a direct link to the amount of people watching a particular sport, and the amount of money that those athletes make. And so I think we can kind of deduce that Serena Williams, who is the number one on the list, the GOAT forever, fight me. Naomi Osaka, the future GOAT, was number 2 on the list. Angelique Kerber landed at number 3. Simona Halep is number 4. Sloane Stephens is number 5. All of those women, and I don't think it has so much to do with the women themselves, although they are all very pretty and attractive women. I think it has more to do with the fact that tennis is a sport where women can showcase their femininity more readily, and it's more accepted than in other sports. That directly relates to what female tennis players get to wear. Honey, I love a tennis skirt. I love a tennis dress. I love the way I feel when I'm wearing my tennis outfits. I feel like a strong athlete, but I also feel pretty and feminine and soft in a way. But I also feel like I can go out on the court and kick butt, and I can feel sexy doing it and feel feminine doing it. And so, and I think that that's why the top 10 female sports earners were from the tennis world, because people want to see femininity. People want to see feminine athletes. People want to see the short skirts. People want to see the tight dresses. People want to see Serena in the cat suit. Girl, yes, give us what we need, Serena. We love it. We love it. I love it. And I know, and as a woman who loves sports, loves tennis, loves fashion, and loves feminine energy, I love it. And I think that's what draws in a lot of people. A lot of fans want to see sexy, pretty, feminine women that can kick butt at the same time. Kick butt, be sexy simultaneously. It's a pretty dope combination. And so with that being said, I don't think that there's any reason to shame a woman who wants to showcase sex appeal and wants to use that to her advantage, if that's who she is deep down inside. And I don't think it's fair to force upon a woman a makeup class or a fashion or a hair tip class. I don't feel like it's fair to force women into a box of what society tells us femininity is. I think every woman should be able to figure that out for herself, and to figure out what feminine and sexy and all of those things mean for her. I think it's up to every woman and every athlete to figure out what modesty means for her and where that fits into her brand. And if that's not a part of her brand, because that's not who she is at her core, then so be it. I think there's room for it all. I don't like this idea that there's a one-size-fits-all approach to female athletes and how they are marketed. I think that should be a case-by-case thing. I think that the athlete should really think long and hard, or maybe they don't have to. I think the athlete should go with their gut and go with what resonates with them in terms of what kind of brands they choose to partner with, what kind of brand they choose to build for themselves, what kind of endorsements they choose, what kind of magazines they choose to do, what they choose to wear on and off the field. I think all of that is up to the individual. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with a female athlete being sexy and kicking butt. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a female athlete being modest and kicking butt. Because at the end of the day, female athletes, and we know this to be true, they can kick butt And that's what and ultimately that's the core of all of this. That's what we want to see. I think we can have it both ways. I think athletes can do what they want. I think we don't have to be put into a box. And I think we don't have to judge the next woman. Everybody's got to have a hustle. Everyone's got bills to pay. And even beyond all of that, most importantly, everyone is working hard. You don't get to be a professional athlete without the hard work. But yeah, so I want to hear what y'all think. So please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And especially comment down below. Tell me what you think about the way that women are marketed and the way that women should be marketed or should not be marketed and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.